Hello, hello. Yes, we are back with Vinland Saga, episode 20. What's your name again? I forgot.
What's, he's the black guy. He's a dark skinned guy. What's
he's
your name again?
he's speaker number 2.
Speaker number 2. Bro, the disrespect. Well, I was not ready for this. Damn it, Christian. You know I don't handle confrontation well.
No. He's
It's a hard
the
life.
lovely
The lovely. Oh, what's some other beautiful adjectives that can describe me? I don't know. The precarious. No, it's just cautious. The gregarious. Yes. The jovial.
Gregarious.
The
Jovial.
omnipresent. The
Wow.
omniscient.
Omniscient. Whoa.
I
He's
know,
ascended?
right?
That
He's
high?
ascended. He's ascended that high. Literally in my chair, I just scooped up a little bit.
All right, calm down.
Crazy
Put the
shit.
crown down.
I know, right? Put it down. Put it down, Canute. This is just a power trip. It's a hard life. But yeah, man.
Pierre, this was a good episode. I really like this.
Crazy shit, man. Yeah, they're ending this pretty well, actually. Let's get into pain.
Yeah.
With pain. By pain.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of how they started this episode because Fox, he is a guy who is aware that he's stronger than the average person. And this strength enabled him to comfortably assume the role of a predator in most battle situations.
Yeah.
Even if there's like a degree of danger for him, he's typically in a favorable position most of the time. And by constantly being in a favorable position, he was comfortable with a joy that is exclusive to people who are in the predator position, and the overwhelming fear that is typically exclusive to the prey was foreign to him. So here on the Battle of Kettle's Farm, he's a cocky predator who suddenly found himself in the position of prey, and that reversal, it amplified his fear because there's an element of conceit and convenience that's been taken away from him. Like, wait a minute, this is wrong. Battles are usually fun because I don't die. I'm the one who does the killing. I'm the one who gets to laugh and have fun in this situation while my victims are in fear. So why are they having fun? Why are they laughing while I'm afraid? Wait a minute. I know what this means. I've seen this scenario play out over and over. This means I'm going to die the same way my victims did. And this is scary. I don't like this. So because he can relate to his predator, he's experiencing a unique form of fear. And I think that was a really brilliant way to start the episode because the odds are stacked against Kettle's men. Like, this is an overwhelmingly bad situation for them. So what's his name? Fox. He encapsulates that the mood in the air very well with this scene. So I thought it was really brilliantly done.
Yeah, he's been cautious the whole time because ever since he discovered who these guys were, he's been so close to Snake that Snake's been telling him, "Shit, we're about to lose. This is who we're facing. This is like 1,000 Thorgil out there. These are more deadly." So yeah, he's approaching this in a more cautious and scared way because he knows who he's up against.
You're right.
But that is true. It's a complete foil because if you remember 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes ago, when he's like, we sell death. That's the product. Right. Like, he sounded like a top,
cocky,
like a state of the art prey predator.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty cool. It was a nice shift. I didn't pick up on that, but yeah, and definitely if you juxtapose Fox from beginning of season 2 to Fox now, it's a complete different person.
Yeah, totally. And meanwhile, Badger, he lost an arm, and he's desperately fighting an opponent who's just smiling and toying with him.
Yeah.
Fox, he notices this, and then out of concern, he accidentally shouts Badger's real name, which we find out is Gudmund. And Snake comes in to rescue Badger / Gudmund.
Yeah.
And he beheads his opponent, which might be the first Jomsviking to fall in this battle.
I know, right? Yeah.
and then he kills another Yom's Viking.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's two in a row, which is a really big deal because it's proof of how strong Snake is, and it's
Mm-hmm.
further proof of how strong Thorfinn is, which we already know, but more evidence is always nice of how crazy Thorfinn is
Because they match
because
each other. Yes.
they match each other, and he was recognized by Snake, which is a
Mm.
man who just took out two Yom's Vikings.
Uh-huh.
So
And also his armor, there was blood. Like as in he took out more before those two. So he's
yeah,
uh
that's a good point. It could be that, or it could just be that people were dying on our side by
I
him,
know,
and his
right?
blood got on them. Either way, either situation could have happened.
Swiftly too.
Um,
It was literally it was like a clean kill. Two clean kills.
yeah, yeah,
Mm. But I like Badger's bravery because he's like, "What? Let me freaking fight!" Because it's funny. Like Fox is seeing the reality. Like we're dying here, but Badger is so freaking angered by the fact that he's fighting an opponent who doesn't take him seriously. Like even though
mm,
he lost an arm, he's still like, "No, I want to fight. Like I want to freaking fight." And you're like, "Bro, chill. You're dying. Like don't let this shit get into your head, man." But it was nice. It was nice to see. These guys are true warriors. Or Badger. Yeah, Badger. And I didn't like him. I don't know if you remember. He's the reason the freaking Gardor got the drop on them, and the other fucking
yeah,
dude had to die because they were arguing loud. But yeah, that was
hmm
pretty cool.
yeah, and Snake. So he's seeing the kettle. He isn't getting the hint that they're losing and badly. So he orders a retreat. And then Kettle, who is unscathed, he sees that his men are retreating,
Right.
and he grabs one of the men and he starts just telling him like, "What are you doing? Get back
Ooh.
in there."
Mm.
And the guy says something very profound. He
Yes.
says that the debt doesn't matter because you're finished anyway, and now you know what it's like to be poor like us, because no matter how unfair it may be, the poor don't defy the king. And we only
Mm.
listen to you because you were basically the king here. You were the
Mm-hmm.
boss. But someone showed up who's stronger than you, so your authority isn't worth much anymore. Did that line in particular stand out to you? Because I was
Of course.
gonna gloss over it because I think it speaks for itself. But if you had
Yeah.
any thoughts on it, I didn't want to skip over it without letting you say
Yeah.
anything.
It's basically the whole predator and prey thing. How uh, Fox is realizing, oh shit, like I'm prey. Because if you look at the food chain, right, like something like a worm can get eaten by a mouse, and the mouse shit is afraid of a cat. The cat is afraid of a fucking like eagle. The eagle's afraid of a fucking. It's there's a hierarchy that needs to be respected. And the fact that he slaps that back in Kettle's face, like, bro, I understand you're the top dog. You're no longer top dog. There's a bigger top dog. So now you get why all these years we just fell in line. It wasn't solely out of just fear from you or out of love or loyalty. It was because we knew our place. We understood if we defied you, you had retainers on lock that could punish us for what we've done. We understood this was your land, that we were working for you. Now you need to understand there's a bigger guy coming. So for that
Mm,
reason, we are retreating because this guy is much bigger, and you need to fall in line to this guy. It was just like in one word, in two words, just respect hierarchy. And I love the way he took that because that could have gone either way. Because he's already angry, he's already delusional as fuck right now. Like find out your girl's running out with some other guy, might be pregnant for that other guy. Like a king's coming at you and only 70 men, and it's just like three times the size that you have. Just to find out people are retreating. He
yeah.
could have killed this man. Unfortunately, the man would have died for just telling the truth. These things happen in movies all the time. A bad guy who's angered to just some innocent person like knock some sense into him and just fall victim. Just wrong place at the wrong time. So I like that he took a step back. He loosened his grip. He froze. I was like, damn, like this is sinking in. I love that it sunk in because it could have not. This could have gone either way. You could have just killed this guy and said, "Where you guys are going? Let's move forward." So that was I love that scene. No, he put him in this place. Like, bitch, you're one of us now.
Nicely said. Yeah. So we see. So after that, we see a Joms Viking strike at Kettle, and they. It was a fake out. We were supposed to be left not knowing if he died or not,
Right.
but we later find out that he was seriously injured, but he's not dead, but gravely wounded. And after that, Canute, he sees that the enemy is, or, Kettle's men, they're giving up. And he orders Wulf to tell Floki to hold back the Jomsvikings.
Yeah.
Uh, and while Wulf goes to do that, Canute is only guarded by two men. Thorgil, we saw in the last episode, he was sneaking up on Canute. And as soon as he sees that Wulf leaves Canute's side, Thorgil capitalizes on this, and then he
Yeah.
heads straight for Canute. And Canute, he impressively blocks Thorgil's strike at the cost of breaking his sword and spraining his hand, uh, which that's wild. That just blocking that
Right.
much force causes a crack in your steel sword. It's like, Jesus.
And ruptures your
Uh,
ligament or a tendon, whatever the fuck causes a sprain. I was like,
yeah, yeah. And Thorgil's sword was not even took no damage
right.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
But
Uh, damn.
even Thorgil was impressed by this because after like he was impressed by Canute's ability to block because
Mm-hmm.
after
Yeah.
slashing the heads of the two guards on standby like they were nothing. Because again,
Yeah.
these are Yom's Vikings. Like they're some
I
of the
know, right?
strongest people in the world, and they're getting taken out like nothing by this guy. And he acknowledges Canute's skill right after saying he came from Helheim. Now, Helheim, in Norse mythology, it's a place where the dead go to be punished.
Mm,
So, assuming that this is not just wordplay from Thorgil, we can assume that either he's a traitor of some sort or that he was thought to be dead by these two lines. We don't know for sure. But elated by Canute's skill, Thorgil, he declares that Canute, purely by the fact that he blocked Thorgil's attack, that means that he's worth killing, and he charges at him with the intent to kill.
hmm.
Uh, Canute tries to perform some clever maneuvers to dodge him, but ultimately they do not work.
Right.
And before Thorgil can strike a finishing blow, Wulf interferes by stabbing Thorgil in the wrist,
Yeah.
while and then he tackles him to the ground, and then he starts strangling him. And Thorgil, he pushes Wulf's eye in. Now, I think I mentioned a, a couple episodes, like a while ago, that like eye injuries are some of the worst in my mind because that's like robbing you of your senses, one
I
of your
know.
senses. It's horrifying. But Wolf, he just, for a moment, he didn't even seem phased by it. His momentum wasn't halted at all. It just,
Yeah.
his grip tightened, if anything,
Right.
around his neck, which that's crazy. And
Yeah.
uh, it, that's absurd. Because if you try to just imagine
The pain.
having your eye pushed back into your skull,
Mm.
that, I mean, even we even saw in season one when Thorfinn did that to Thorkel when they were in the snow and they had their first fight. Thorkel immediately reacted. I think, like he was in some serious pain, and Thorkel is one of
Yeah.
the. He's a guy who had his fingers chopped off, and he wasn't even phased by that. He was just waving his hands goodbye to Thorfinn with his severed finger, and he reacted to the eye pain. So the fact that Wolf was like didn't even bother him, I think that says a lot
Mm.
about his ability to tolerate pain in a fight.
Yeah. Also, what matters too, like these guys like protect their king at all cost, and then worry about
Mm.
themselves later. Even like as he's going through that, like painlessly, still choking, like Thorgil, like until Thorgil finally gets kick him or something that he rolls and gets up and realizes, all right, more people are coming back. Let me run. Wolf still gets up and say, "Give me a sword, King. Let me go get him." And Canute, I like that Canute's
Mm.
like, "You're injured. Let's just retreat." And Canute acknowledge even more. This is a guy who would love to serve me, dude. I love his eye for good servants. Like, remember when he picked out Askeladd and Askeladd chose him. But because Askeladd told him, "Hey, I'm also the guy that killed your boy." What was the homeboy's name? His father figure, Canute's father figure. Can't remember his name.
Uh, Ragnar.
Wreck. Really? Yes, sure.
Hmm.
That's true. So he was like, just make up for what you did by serving me or some shit. How he picked out Thorfinn. He's like Thorkill. Like, yeah, like, he has an eye for like great warriors, and he has a way of getting them under his leadership because he's like a petite dude. But but people actually follow him, like his
Yeah.
followers devote 100%. And he's not sadistic. He's caring. He's very strategic. No, I love that. He's like, oh, this man would have done. I would have loved to have this man serve me. Of course, dude. Thorgil's the fucking whole package of when it comes to being a warrior, bro. All the Thors, all the Thors. Some crazy shit, man.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And I'm sure because since he said that he wished that Thorgil would serve him again, I'm sure we're gonna get more of like a backstory on that situation, like what happened to Thorgil that he stopped serving Canute.
Well, we know what happened. Christian, the ambush. Remember his dad came to pay his tribute. Did you get me a meeting with the king? It normally doesn't go that fast, but yeah, the king is ready to meet you. And then he fled with his dad. That's what happened, Christian. That's how he stopped.
So back then he wasn't. He was still part of the king's men.
Yeah.
I thought that like
hmm
back then. Oh, okay. Maybe I just missed that. Okay.
He served under Wolf.
Ah, yes, yes, I remember now. Yeah. Okay. I guess maybe it's because we never the way that Canute said that it seemed as though uh this happened like a long time ago.
Hmm.
That's I guess that's why it came off to me as though like this was something that happened a long time ago in the past. But yeah, you're right.
Oh
And also like
no.
coupled with what?
Go
That's
ahead.
not
Go
right.
ahead. Coupled with what? No, I'm not right. I don't think I'm right. I think he served his brother because King Arlem, our herald, dying. This is when Kettle came to pay his regards. So like, bring more food. It was that time of the season. They're like, the king died. I think when Canute became king, he inherited that army, which came with Wolf and Wolf's men, which was also Kettle. No, which was also Thorgil. Yeah, I think he
Mm,
served under Canute's brother, under Wolf, because Wolf wasn't always with Canute. Wolf came through after Canute came back home. Remember when he fought Wolf when they first came back? It was like not a real fight. It was more of like a training fight because he was visiting his brother, his dead brother. The night when he sat down, he was like, "This felt like nothing. Like I feel nothing that I just killed my brother." That he was visiting. So in that visit, when he
mm,
fought Wolf and knew that Wolf had a thing for his sister, it was like, "Hey, my sister's not looking" or some shit. But now Wolf is he inherited that army because he's now the new king of Denmark, which is what his brother was. So yeah, I think that's what Thorgil just came with that whole package, but never got to fully serve because his dad came and they had to flee because you know what happened. But yeah, that's
mm.
probably why he said that.
Okay. Eventually, um, after Wolf had his eye pushed in, uh, Thorgil he rebounded to his feet, and then he flees as soon as he sees a group of Yom's Vikings targeting him. He gives this last battle cry, and then he rushes back into the ocean. Um, and then yeah,
Yeah,
that's of course where Canute says what he said about him
right.
serving. Um, and then Canute. So since Canute is in danger, that accelerates the Yom's Vikings retreat, and so um, that pretty much uh, marks the end of the battle at Kettle's farm.
Mm-hmm.
And Snake, he finds the wounded Kettle on the battlefield. It looked like he had an eye blown out. The injury wasn't really clear what happened to him, I don't think, but his head was bleeding and his eye was
Yeah.
red. So if he lost an eye, that is that might be what happened because I think when he's later on when he's like bandaged in the bed, it's covering his eye, so he might have lost an
Mm-hmm.
eye.
It's called everyone
Which
one eye.
yeah, again with
Yeah.
the eye injuries.
Yeah. And during that whole time, Arnheid is fighting for her life. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
insane.
Yeah, she's woken up a little bit. She's mumbling about various things, like hearing the sound of battle. And Einar, he's doing his best to comfort her. Um, but their target destination currently is Leaf's village. So Arnheid, she asked if it's a place with slaves and wars, which is essentially her asking if it's is it Vinland or is it not Vinland? That's how I read it. Because whenever
Right.
somebody asks if a place has slavery or if it has
I know, right?
wars, that's
Like,
like
bitch, what do you
that's what
think?
Vinland
The
is.
what the fuck do you think, bitch? It's like, what do you think? Of course it has them.
Yeah. Yep.
This bitch thinks this is
And
Sweden. Like, no, bitch, it's just wars and slaves. That's all there is.
yeah.
Crazy
Oh
shit.
yeah.
I,
So
I, yeah.
good. Good.
No, I was gonna say, I like that Leaf was actually truthful because Leaf's a good man. Like, I can't tell you that we don't have these things because I can't guarantee that they won't be there. And she's like, I'm not going, bro.
Yeah. She says she declines because she wants to be with. If it has born slavery, she just wants to be with Garter and her children, which is another way
Right.
of saying like death, pretty
Dead.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she says she wanted to at least express her gratitude to
Mm.
Thorfinn and Einar before joining Garter and her kids.
Yeah.
This was a pretty. The music was made the scene way more intense. I mean, it was already intense, but it was a very heartbreaking scene.
uh,
Uh,
I don't know,
you
Christian.
don't think so?
I was a bit upset actually because
Really?
you know how Einar has been very selfless so far, like endangering
Yeah.
Thorfinn's freedom, his freedom to ensure Arnheid's. I get that. Where is that selfless side of you to see that this is someone who really gotta go? Like, bro, she's been beaten. Like, the kid is done. Her husband is dead. Her kid is dead. The one in her stomach definitely is not making it out. It already crossed over to the other side. I think she told him that too. Like, bro, let her go. Why are you trying to revive someone
Um,
who made their decision? And I didn't like that. Like, oh, let me give her CPR. Like, no, she literally said, let me go. If she said, fight for me, I don't want to do it. I don't want to see the light. Oh my god, I don't want to see the light. I'm getting cold. Einar, please. If it was like that, I'd understand. But if it's, guys, I just want to come back and say thank you. I'm going back to my kids now, bro. Let the girl go. Just like,
well, so let's unpack that a little bit. 'Cause I think one aspect of what you said is like Einar should be considerate that she's trying to die. That's a really
yeah,
hard thing to
honor her
ask
wishes
somebody
because she
to.
has she has nothing else, Christian. She has nothing left in the world. But
Right,
sure.
but it's it is very hard for somebody to just like let somebody die because what I think of is this might be pretty dark, but this is where my mind is going. Like if somebody was trying to commit suicide and before the light in their eyes goes out, they're telling you that I have nothing to live for. What's the point in me going on anymore? That's it
But
would
that's
make
different.
sense to try to show somebody that there's still more to life that they could enjoy. That just because you're drowning in depression and sadness doesn't mean that you have
Mm.
to end your life because of that.
That's true, Christian. That's different. That's true. Depression and sadness. That is true. Also, that this is a double-edged sword. The whole topic of suicide. Yeah, a lot of people see it as like weakness or show them more. Some people like going is relief from their constant torment. But anyway, that's a different thing. But your scenario is different. Suicide, yes. Christian, if you're in the brink of committing suicide, we're good friends. I will try not show you like, hey, bro, we got a podcast. I can't do this shit by myself. Like, hey, bro, what the fuck are you talking about, man? We got other boy strip. It wasn't just Thailand. We got to do another one. I
We
understand
gotta
that.
we gotta record
We,
episode 22.
we got to record. We got to record an episode. But this is not suicide. This is someone who's half dead. This was basically Thorfinn two episodes ago when right what she did exactly. Remember 2 episodes ago? Well, I don't know if it's two. When Thorfinn's like, Arnie, just so you know, Gardar is already. You can finish. When she got him, she put him in the cart to go. It's like, hey girl, Gordo's actually already dead. But what she was doing was making sure she conveys him smoothly and slowly into the afterlife. As in, welcome home. Great, I'll just be here for you. Like, That's someone who recognizes someone is dying. Why can't these guys see that this girl is half dead? That's not
Yeah, but I
suicide.
mean, the suicide, it is a different scenario, but I think the sentiment still is there. Like the essence of the emotions that would be in the air is still there in this scenario.
I
And
would
also
cry,
like
Christian. That's true. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, cuz I mean it's again just to tie it back to the fact that this is a Einar, he's not necessarily he was really young when he was taken as a slave. So his I don't know if it's right to say education, but his intellect doesn't seem especially refined to the point where if he's presented with a situation like this, his first love, somebody who's he's been talking to for years at this point, every single day probably, just for him to just and also somebody who he was willing to forfeit Thorfinn's freedom on the spur of the moment just to save her. Because and also remember like in the past episodes where I was like, he seems very emotionally reactive. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
very on the spot. Like he's not thinking things through completely, but he's doing so much for Arnheid. So
Right.
he showed these kind of traits in the past or habits of like being overwhelmed by emotion. So to ask somebody who responds to very intense situations like that, to tell him to like put your emotions on the back burner and let this person die, I think that's asking a little too much of Einar specifically. If it was someone like Thorfinn, then yeah, definitely. Like he's somebody who could respect that. But Einar, nah, I think it feels in his character, and also just like in human nature to try to prevent somebody you love from going, even if they want to go.
Yeah. No, the emotion I understand. Christian, I would cry too. I would be gouging my eyes out too. This was a good friend. This was someone I loved. This is someone I wanted the best for, and then this is not the kind of ending I envisioned for them because I risked my freedom and a bunch of things to ensure that they'd get a better ending than this. I would do the same too. But to start performing CPR, shaking her, come back. That's I'll be crying, but I understand. Like Tony Stark in Endgame when he died. Nobody tried. Pepper didn't try reviving him because Pepper knows he's been troubled. He's been freaking worried. He's like, Tony, you can rest now. But she's crying. She is crying. It's like I understand. Like I'd be crying, but it's like, girl, you've gone through a lot. Go see your kids. I will miss you. I'll cry here, but like the trying to keep you alive. Like, no, come back, come back. And it's just like, bro. And Thorfinn's like, wait, I can do this too. I'm like, Thorfinn, because the same way Thorfinn was like, hey, Harney, just so you know, Gardar's already dead. I thought he'd be like, hey, bro, she's like a quarter of the way here. Like there's 3 quarters on the other side.
Right.
But
Yeah, I'm
but I
surprised that
mm,
I'm surprised that because I thought you were like really loved Arnheid. I thought you would have
I
been like
did, but she
vouching for her.
lost everything, Christian. Live for what? Like I
Yeah,
don't like
that's the thing. Because like you could say the same thing for Thorfinn, right? He lost everything, so why should he continue living? But and yet he's continuing to live, and by doing so, he found a new purpose. And his new
well,
purpose is to help prevent violence in the world and slavery and war. That's but if he was in if he had somebody who was just like, oh, you're on the verge of death, you have nothing to live for, yeah, just go ahead and die. Don't try to stay alive.
but
You know?
Thorfinn's conflict is internal. Thorfinn has a grip on his conflicts. Thorfinn has learned to manage his atonement process. He's learned to grow, become a better person. Our needs are external and out of her control. Meaning, bring her back to what? To slavery? Okay, she's been bought. That's true. She's been bought. She's a Leaf paid her dues. She's now a free woman to move to a new land. Who can't guarantee that folks won't show up for you to put you back in slavery. When this world has been so tragic to you, you've been ripped from your son, your husband, bro. You've been probably raped by Keto until you become submissive. I'm assuming Arnheid looked like a woman who's had shit. I'm reading way too much into this. As in, I was gonna say like dignity and all that kind of stuff. So it's like the first night that Keto was like, "Hey, bro, spread him." She was probably like, No, but
Hey,
it's
bro,
like,
spread them.
hey, girl, spread those cheeks. Like, Keto out here look like it's like there's been nothing good, bro. Let her go. But again, I understand, Christian. I get it. It's yeah. I was shocked that both of them were like that because throughout this whole thing, one's always been the opposite of the other. Like, bro, stayed back, or bro, think like, relax. Literally, we were both charging at this woman. Like, it was literally physical harassment. They kept like shaking her. I was like, bro.
Physical harassment.
I was like, bro, I'm like, Einar, you just killed her. I'm like, that blow just killed her because
That
they
sealed the
didn't
deal.
fuck. Yeah, because they told you they can't even move fast because any slight movement will get her killed. So they've been taking baby steps outside of that farm. This dude didn't put his 200-pound freaking body and hands on both of her shoulders. It's like,
Oh
shake
shit,
her. It's like, bro, you just
that's
killed
funny.
her. Oh my goodness. I was like, yeah, yeah, bro, you did. You're a murderer. You're a fucking murderer now. Crazy shit.
Uh,
Mm, mm, mm.
oh. Well, I mean, after Arnheid passed, I don't think she heard when Einar confessed this, but he said that he was in love with her and that
Right.
he wanted her to live for his sake because he needed her and he loved her. But pretty sure she didn't hear that, unfortunately. Which this is probably the second time that the show did that. The first was Thorfinn and Askeladd. Well, in the sense that like um, the characters who are experiencing somebody dying
Mm.
don't get a satisfying conclusion because Thorfinn's wasn't satisfying in his eyes with Askeladd, and Einar, it's like he didn't get to confess how he really felt to Arnheid before she died. So
Right.
for him, that's not a satisfying ending. But as a viewer, it's very thought provoking and satisfying to see. Um, but yeah, so Arnheid, she passed away, and Thorfinn's final words to her, even though at this point she's already gone, is a description of Vinland, the same one that we've been hearing in season one and season two.
Bro.
And he tells her to join them as a way of sending her off finally. And Snake, he arrives right after this with Kettle on his back. And I love again that he's not angry at them in the slightest. He's just curious about what they're all doing here in the first place. Like, you're all still here. You should have been gone by now. Like, why are you still here? And Einar, of course, he's very emotional. He sees Kettle, the man who just killed his beloved Arnheid, and he goes after him.
Right.
And for the first time, he punches Thorfinn when he tried to stop him. And Snake, he calmly takes in the situation. He sees that Arnie died, and he even takes this mournful disposition. Like, he's not combative with uh, Einar. He's not defensive over Kettle. He's just respectful in a sense, which is
Yeah.
crazy. There's so much to this guy beneath the surface. It's very fascinating to see the choices that he makes in these situations. And Einar right now he's seeing red, and for the first time we see Thorfinn strike Einar back and knocking him to his senses. And then he consoles Einar and he says that killing the master won't quell his rage, and that anger just begets more anger because
Right.
Thorfinn was stuck in that hell for a long time. So there's a lot of weight behind him saying that. And he begs Einar not to be afflicted by the same curse of revenge that he was.
Yeah.
Incredibly powerful to have Thorfinn say something like that in a moment like this, where that's probably the only thing that could calm down Einar. Because Einar knows Thorfinn's story. He knows that those
Yeah.
words aren't just empty, they
It's
come from a
true.
deep place of meaning. So, and then after that, Thorfinn and Einar, they are by Arnheid's grave. And this scene is overlapped by Canute reaffirming his animosity towards God, uh, which he said, that God, you're probably just sitting up there in your throne, watching us suffer many losses due to the trials that you lay out for us. So we know Canute is still his main foe in life is God, still. And the episode ends with Thorfinn declaring his intention to see Canute to Leaf, with the desire to prevent more deaths that would happen due to Kettle not being captured. And Leaf, of course, he fights for him to stop. But then in response, Thorfinn makes a callback to one of the things that Leaf said in season one, the earlier episodes, where their ancestors they fled from war to Iceland. And
Right.
back then, Thorfinn thought that was lame, thought it was stupid, and they were cowardly. But now he says that he's proud of them. And then right after saying that, he says Canute brought 100 men, and that no matter how badly it turns out, I should be able to make it back alive. And again, these are not just 100 men; they are 100 John's Vikings.
Oh shit! I know,
So
right? Were you
yeah,
shocked? Because I texted you about that. I was like, bro, you won't believe. I was like, you won't believe what this boy just said. You were like, who? I was like, well, you see it when you watch it. I was like, Thorfinn did not just say that. Like, where's this cockiness coming from? It's like,
yeah.
what?
I think I wasn't shocked, but I was more so just in awe at the level of confidence in him,
Seriously,
because it's a reminder that he's dealt with worse,
that's
like
true. That
in
is
the
true.
past, and this doesn't
Mm-hmm.
scare him in the slightest, which is that's that's incredible.
Mm, some
That's
crazy
incredible
shit.
stuff.
That's some crazy shit.
And
All right, all right. The episode ends. Homeboy's about to go.
yes, so
Hmm.
ends.
All right, it's been real. I'm going to sleep.
Yes. No, you're not. We got another episode.
We got another episode.
All right.
All
Goodbye.
right.